Hey guys, and welcome to Little Blackbird 91. I am sitting down with the honorable, the beautiful, and the smart Kheri from Ready to Love, DC. Yes, I have
I
the
love
honor.
that intro.
Oh, listen, we got to sweeten everybody, you know what I'm saying? But it's
Yes.
true, so it's cool. So it's
Yes.
good. Yeah. How you doing today? You all right?
I'm doing great. I'm doing amazing. Today was a beautiful day in DC, so it kind of lifted my spirit.
Beautiful day. Was it sunny out there or something? Or
It was sunny and like the trees, like the color of the trees for fall was just like really highlighted today. It was just like boom. So it just like made me smile and it did something to my spirit. I'm in a really good mood.
I like that, man. We don't really get that here in the UK. It's chilly right now, and the leaves ain't
Oh
looking
yeah.
all
Is
too
it raining
beautiful.
out there?
Well, it was really windy today, so yeah, not about it. Not bad at all. Not us. Look at us talking about the weather. Huh?
I know.
Sound like two people that don't know each other. How was the weather for you? No, I appreciate that still. But yes, listen, thank you so much for joining us on Little Black Book. We appreciate you. We love watching you on our screen. So we get to have the honor of getting to have a conversation with you and getting to know you even better tonight. Right? But before we do, we got to do some human verification, don't we? We've got to make sure you're actually human, Kheri. You could be a hologram, and you'd be a beautiful hologram, but we just need to make sure you're actually who you are. Is that okay?
Okay. All right.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So I've got one question here. My first question to you is BMW, Audi, Lexus, or Mercedes? Which one would you choose?
BMW, Audi, Lexus, or Mercedes? Oh, that's hard. I think I would have to go. I think I would have to go with an Audi.
Oh, okay.
Audi is sexy but masculine at the same time, you know? Like you feel powerful with an Audi, but you can still feel sexy with it as well, you know?
Hey, okay. I like that. Okay. What color would you go for?
I would probably do black or silver. Probably do
Black and
those
silver.
colors.
Okay, cool. All right. Audi. One of the first people to say Audi. Okay, cool. Everyone's mostly Merc or BM.
Audi's like not it.
Hey, listen, it might be the Gemini in you. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
It's hard for us to make decisions. I was like Lexus or Audi, and I was like Audi.
I'm with you, and I can rock with it. So you're sensible. I can rock with that still. I can rock with that. All right, my question number 2. I have a lovely riddle for you. Very short. Very short riddle. Very short riddle. Okay. All right. This is a riddle. I make 2 people out of 1. What am I?
Jesus.
Girl. Wait.
I make 2 people out of 1. I make 2 people out of 1. What am I?
Not 2 becoming 1. He's making 2 out of 1.
2 people out of 1. I don't know. I don't have time to be thinking. Jesus.
I mean, that's going to get you into heaven, but it ain't going to get you the right answer here. Okay. So Jesus is the right answer to getting into heaven. That's the password. But on this occasion, no, the answer is actually a mirror.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would have never guessed.
But you knew that.
I did.
You knew that. You were just playing with us.
Not even a little bit.
That's the whole point of the riddles.
I was thinking too deep. I'm thinking like a woman having twins. I was going deeper and deeper. All right.
Don't worry, man. It's all right. We can go deeper later on, so you're good. Don't worry. You're in the right space to go deep. No worries.
Okay. Cool.
Right. My last question. Okay. We need to know if you're a serial killer or not. Okay. Is it the cereal in first or the milk in first?
The cereal in first. What? Y'all do the milk in first and then the cereal? Who does that?
Well, evidently, only those who put their cereal in first are those what we call serial killers. You're willing to drown your cereal. That's why we know we have to watch out for people like you.
You don't have to watch out for me then, child. I've always put the cereal in first because I want to measure my milk. I want my milk to like cover all of it.
Okay. What's your favorite cereal?
It's been years since I've eaten cereal. I I used to love corn pops.
Okay.
I used to love Lucky Charms. When I came into adulthood, of course, I started eating Special K
Hey,
until I
listen, Special
realized it
K.
makes, yeah, but there's no difference. I might as well eat Lucky Charms. It's all bad for you.
Okay, we'll leave that alone then. As for me, I like my Special K, so I'm gonna keep eating my Special K. Okay.
You do
Okay.
that.
Well,
Enjoy.
I'm gonna enjoy that, and I'm gonna put the milk in first. Okay,
That
cool.
makes no
So
sense. Okay.
don't worry, you're good. Don't worry, we got you covered. We got you covered. You know, we got you good. You're just a serial killer, but it's okay. It's fine. It's not good. I know. All right, so let's get into conversation then. Let's get into
All right.
conversation. We've had a human verification, broke some ice, not literally, but we broke some ice, and now we want to get to know you a little bit better. You know, because the show shows us one thing. The show gives us this kind of perspective of you, and you know, everyone has their own opinions of what they see. So we want to have a different information from you, personally from the horse's mouth, as they say. So my first question to you
Okay.
is simply, who is Kheri, and what is your story?
Oh gosh, where do I even begin? Kheri is very much a loving person. I try to see the good in people right from the beginning. Um, I'm I like to have a good time. I like to laugh. I love to host because I like catering. So I just have this thing about really bringing good energy to everyone around me.
Mm,
And I don't like to bring people down. Even if I'm feeling down, I don't feel comfortable being around people when I'm down because I don't want to bring their energy down. So I'm very mindful. And I guess you could say I'm selfless. I'm a very selfless person. I'm very self aware. And I've done a lot of growing and healing to get to where I am today. And I'm very
mm.
proud of who I am today. I've been married, got married at 21 years old, had no idea what I was doing. I was in college. I met my college sweetheart. He was actually like my first real boyfriend. So I met his parents. We were spending holidays together. So me being from the South, the first thing you think to do or know to do after college is you get married. You get married, you get the house, you have kids. It's like embedded in us. That's something we expect, what we would consider successful in the South. Um, but I got divorced very quickly. So that didn't work out because I was not ready to be married. I didn't even know what type of woman I wanted to be or who I was or even what a good marriage looked like because my parents got divorced at 11 years when I was 11 years old.
Oh,
So when they were married, there was a lot of arguing and fighting. So I didn't have like the best example. So I was really kind of winging it. Oh, I like him. I love him. This is what we're supposed to do. But I didn't know everything that came with marriage or our roles or any of that. So there was infidelity involved, and that's why we ended up getting divorced. So we got the house. I was getting ready. I was in. I wasn't planning on getting divorced, even though I was not happy. Because like I said, this is what we thought Southern women are supposed to do. So once I found out he was cheating, that was my first heartache that broke my heart. I was just like, what the hell? This is not what I expected. And it was not a very nice divorce. He was very nasty. And that's when some of that negativity stuck with me when it came to relationships. And I brought that into my next relationship, which is the man who I was with for almost 9 years, and we were engaged to be married. Now, what broke the camel's back with that was infidelity, but there was amongst other things. I was not healed. I was very insecure. I was jealous. I expected him to make me happy, even with the unhappiness that I had within myself, because I just did not work on myself. I should not have jumped in a relationship. I was not ready. So when that happened, it just made me kind of evaluate myself and what I needed to do in order for me to actually have a successful relationship. And I had to look at the ugliness. I had to dig in deep, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy thing to do. I had to, have that raw conversation with my parents, with myself. I went through therapy, and I just really started to define the type of woman I wanted to be and actually have action behind that, the behaviors behind that, and purge a lot of that negativity that was instilled in me at a young, early age, where I looked at relationships in a very negative way as far as the behaviors in a relationship, which was fighting, arguing, cheating. I didn't see like that in a positive light. So once I did the healing and have done the healing, and I think that is on an everyday basis, you have to tap into yourself and really be honest with yourself. Once I did that, then I realized, okay, I'm ready. At this point, I think I'm ready to actually develop a life with someone and build a relationship with someone. And this is the longest I've been single. I've always been in a relationship. So it's kind of nice to be by yourself and just love on yourself for a while. Wow.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that, because you gave us a very comprehensive outlook on what
Mhm.
you've experienced over the course of years, which actually makes this conversation so much easier. It means I don't have to
Yes.
ask no crazy questions.
Yeah.
So
An open book.
I honestly, I love that, and it takes that is also in itself an art, and it's a skill as well, and it takes vulnerability to do that, and being comfortable with oneself to do
Yeah.
that. So I commend you on that, because not everyone can do that so brazenly as well and confidently. So yeah, I appreciate that. Um, let me ask a question then, because obviously you've given us quite a good outlook. My brain's kind of tingling with different questions now, but let me let me take you all the way back then.
Okay.
So before we get to this accomplished, more polished Kheri, you're a
Hmm.
young girl. Like you said, your parents had separated early on. Talk to us a little bit about your childhood. What was it like? How was
Hmm.
it like growing up? What did you remember about your childhood?
Honestly, my childhood wasn't bad. Like my dad is a great father. My mom is a great mother. They just sucked at being in a relationship together, but they were
Mm,
great parents. So, my mom, she worked hard. My dad was a teacher, and my mom worked in real estate. And she also, early on when I was younger, she worked at the daycare that we went to. That's how much of an involved mother she was in. She did not trust anybody to take care of her children. So we didn't have babysitters. We didn't get dropped off at daycares. And if we were, she was the director of that daycare. So that's how my family was. And we were a blended family. So both my mom and dad were married previous of each other. My mom got married at a very young age. And she had my older sister. And my dad got married at a very young age. And he had my two older siblings, my brother and my sister. So when my mom and dad got together, they had three children together. And then they had me and my sister. Well, they blended three children together, and then they had me and my sister. So that made five
mm,
of us. That was raised together in a small household. I worked, not worked. I was raised in a middle class household. I had working parents, and my dad was very much about education. So during the summertime, we had to read books and write stories on the books we read. Child, my dad loved to lecture. I was like, Daddy, I just asked, can I have some macaroni and cheese? Why do I need to know the history about macaroni and cheese? I don't need to know it. My dad, that's how my father was. And my mom, strong willed, strong headed. Um, my papa was a preacher at a Baptist church. So we were
wow.
very involved in church, every Sunday. And we were a normal traditional family. But, when again, two people, and I feel like they were two broken people and very opposite of each other,
Mm,
they argued all the time, arguing and fighting. And it was a lot of ego and pride. My dad, he is saved currently, but my dad wasn't saved. He wasn't a man of God.
mm,
Yeah, my dad was pretty much, he believed in the Big Bang Theory, and my mom was raised in the church. So it's like, those are two different ways of thinking spiritually, so that can definitely clash. Also, my mom wasn't the best communicator, and neither was my dad. So when it got heated, it got heated. So
Yeah.
that is what I saw. Like I have way more great memories with my family, and mostly with my siblings, and us doing dance off and just entertaining each other as kids. And we still are the same way, like very, very close knit family. So that's important to me. Like any man that comes into my life, I really need him to be family oriented, and I need him to like be comfortable with my family because we're loud. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna call you out. Like you can't come up there all quiet and acting like you're mute. You need to speak and you need to laugh. That's what we expect. And you need
So speaking to laugh, I like that. I like that.
speak, laugh, and eat. That's the requirement.
Man, I mean, like again, you've given us a comprehensive background again, and I appreciate you sharing that. Especially the fact that you're aware of even the situation between your parents and how they weren't able to communicate effectively in certain moments and stuff like that as well. And then you spoke a little bit about how that obviously I know you said the parents split. How do you think that affected you personally then? So you as a young child, how did maybe you seeing those kind of things affect you as you're growing up when you got older?
I know that I had abandonment issues for a little bit because I didn't want my dad to leave the house. I didn't want us to be separated. Separated. And even when they went through a divorce, we did go through a custody battle, so that was very difficult. Especially as children, you don't want one parent to feel like you're picking one over the other, So that was very hard. I think that came into when I got married and I got divorced. It hit me hard because I always told myself I don't want to get divorced. I don't want to get a divorce. I want to be married. I want to stay married. I want to have that family, with my husband. So I put a lot of unnecessary pressure on myself just due to that fear of having that type of life. Also, I wasn't very vulnerable when it came to men in relationships because again I didn't have like the best example, so it was hard for me to open up and really put my emotions out there. It was probably very surface within my relationships. I didn't let them go too deep because I was still protecting that part of me.
Wow. Okay. When you talk about obviously protecting yourself and not having that vulnerability, what did that look like? How did that present itself?
Oh God, a chip on my shoulders, ready to argue, ready to defend myself, always thinking you trying to get over on me, not necessarily giving them the benefit of the doubt, that's how it looked. I'm sure it was exhausting for them. Like again, our relationships ended, the nail in the coffin was infidelity, but the relationships were not that great because I had something to do with that as well. It wasn't just all them.
I love that you again just highlighted, the aspects where you feel like you could improve on and certain things that you were doing. And I think that's very important as well to actually having a successful relationship, which is where two people are conscious, aware, and always trying to analyze and review the situation and not just saying it's not my fault or it's your fault. It's looking at both parties and being able to engage from both parties in the relationship to make it healthy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of ego. You got to check that ego, and people will carry it into the relationship, and you will end a good relationship based on that. You got to put that to the side. At the end of the day, this is why I always lead everything I do with love, because I feel like for a long time I didn't do that. And it's not that I don't regret anything. I don't regret anything, but I've learned from it. So now I give people a benefit of the doubt. I lead with love. I argue with love. It's not that defensive. Oh, I need to protect myself because you're trying to hurt me. Now, do I have triggers? Absolutely. But I recognize those triggers. I check them and I push them. Like I have to talk to myself. Like, okay, we know what this is. Let's reel it in. So.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, especially on the triggers part. Everybody can be triggered. It's it's part of obviously coming from backgrounds that, you know, where you've had to survive, you know, and being in, sometimes I'd call them emotionally unsafe environments, you know,
Yeah,
when you grow up in those environments. And it's not like our parents are trying to make those type of environments. It is due to what's happened and the process of what's happened that places
right.
can become emotionally unsafe. And then you, like you're saying, you have to protect yourself. You have to learn how to defend yourself emotionally so that you
Right.
don't become hurt when you're young. And then that kind
Yeah.
of grows up with you when you get older.
Yes.
And it becomes quite normal in your behavior and your dealings with people. And then you're getting triggered in relationships and stuff like that. So it makes a lot of sense with that as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Domino
yeah,
effect.
go for it. Stepping slightly away from that aspect, then. So let me take you back where you were originally when you were talking about being a young girl. I always like to ask this question. So, what were your dreams then? What was your hopes and ambitions as a young girl?
Oh God, as a young girl, my dreams, honestly, I just wanted to be with my family all the time. I didn't have like
Mm,
necessarily, it wasn't like I didn't have the dreams of wanting to see the world or I want to be a doctor or anything like that. I just love being around my family. So that's pretty much what it was when I was younger. You know, I didn't want to get away from them. I wanted to be around them all the time. I would probably say I wanted to have my own family. So
mm,
my dream was to like have my husband and be able to have all the children and have the picket fence and that's really what the vision was for myself. I didn't see anything bigger because I didn't know any better, you know. So what I saw in front of me is like I'm gonna have a good husband, good looking husband with children and a picket fence, and we're just gonna have fun. And we're gonna travel. We're gonna be this great family, like my family. Well, without the arguing, but
mm.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. So then obviously I mean, that's a you know, I've heard that a few times. So then obviously that dream of becoming that, you know, great family, etc., etc. Um, and then you get older, and then that
Shit is real.
yeah, that's thank you for saying that. That's what I wanted to say. Stuff gets real,
Yes.
yeah. And then obviously then that does that dream get shattered then, and then you have to kind of reevaluate. How do you recover from that situation?
Oh yeah, absolutely got shattered a few times, you know, because the first time it got shattered is from when I got married. I
Yeah.
honestly was in that mindset where I was so naive that I was like, oh, he would never look at another woman and want her.
Mm,
You know, he only is attracted to me and only me.
come
I
on.
just didn't know any better. I was very
Mm,
naive. I was very green. I did not know what this what to expect, to be honest with you. So I when I got my heart broken, it shattered. Like I was like, what the hell? I never felt this way before. I lost like a ton of weight. And I
was
probably
your
went
first
through like,
heartbreak?
yeah,
Whew.
it was my first heartbreak. My divorce was my first heartbreak.
Mm,
Yes. And that was a major heartbreak.
that must have stung.
Um, so yeah, it was shattered for a while. And I did not know that I went through a bit of a bitter stage. And
Mm,
it wasn't like I was being mean because when you think someone's bitter, they're like angry and they're like F all these Negroes, I don't want no man, don't need no man. It wasn't like that. I just had no expectation. Like
mm,
my expectations were none. I just expected to be disappointed. I expected, you know, I just didn't have really any hope of having a nice relationship where my heart doesn't get broken. And so when it happened the second time,
mm,
um, it was either I would go deeper down in that hole where I would be even more bitter and have zero hope of having a healthy relationship or heal. It was a fork in the road moment of my life, you know. And I definitely I now have that hope of having a good relationship, a healthy relationship, but I know it takes work and it's not easy. I also know that there are going to be days where it's not healthy. There are going to be days where I can't stand him or he's going to look at me different and we have to just get back together and rebuild again. I'm aware of that now. I was not aware of that then. And being
mm,
insecure and being broken on top of not being aware of going through imperfections and how to handle that in relationships, it's a recipe for disaster. So, and that's what my relationships were then. It was somewhat disastrous for me emotionally, you know.
Wow. How long were you married for then? The actual marriage? How long did the marriage last?
Child, not even a whole year. It did not last long. We were
Yes.
together for like 4.5 years, and then we got married.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were living together. We were pretty much playing husband and wife, just without the paperwork and the rings. But once we got married, I think something clicked in me where I was like even more scared. So I became a little more controlling. I became more fearful because again, I didn't have the best example for marriage. So I got scared and I didn't even know that would happen. So I kind of changed a little bit once I got that ring on my finger.
Wow. So you say for you, is it more of a thing where you look back now, you realize the fear increased, or did you feel that at the time when you got married, you felt the fear increase? And I'm guessing the fear is probably coming from the fact that you've seen your parents kind of split and you're probably thinking it might happen to you. Did you think that at the time when you got married, or is that happening now? Now you're looking back at it thinking, I can see how my fear increased.
It's both because honestly, I had all the signs I should not have married that man.
Okay,
He was
baby.
not perfect. So
Okay.
yeah, we had some stuff that happened before we got married that I should have ran very quickly, full on speed away. But we were together for a long time, and I used history versus what I deserved because I didn't know what I deserved, and it ended up marrying him. But that fear was there. I cried on our wedding day because I knew we were not supposed to get married. We had no money in our bank account. The dress was garbage. My hair was garbage. I had on press-on nails. We were young. Like it was just all these signs, and like even my mom and dad were there, but my best friends weren't there. My entire family wasn't there. We got married in Vegas at this pink looking, and it wasn't like it wasn't like a shotgun wedding. So we didn't go get married drunk in the middle of the night. Like we cautiously chose Vegas, got married at this little raggedy chapel that was pink at the Riviera Hotel, and got married by this white man. I didn't even know who the hell he was. That married me and him, and the people who were next to us, those were his friends, not my friends. And it was just a hot mess. And I remember I was crying and my eyelashes were falling off. It was sign after sign after sign that this man is not supposed to be your husband. And God was like, what do I need to do? Like, I'm trying to show you everything, but obviously I'm gonna have to go ahead and let you go through it. And I went through it. Yeah.
Damn.
So yeah, the fear was there.
So wait, what made you guys go to Vegas? It was like
It was his idea. That's why I should have known he wasn't taking it seriously. I didn't want to go to Vegas, but he was like adamant on going to Vegas. And like also all of his friends that he was close to, only one of his friends ended up going. It just all of the signs were there. It's my fault. Well, not my fault, but it is my fault because I wasn't listening or paying attention to the multiple red flags that were shown to me, which is why we ended up getting divorced so quickly. Because I mean, he was playing. He was playing. Let's be honest. So was I.
No, but it's obviously like we're young and we don't see certain things. When we see them, we don't weigh the consequences of ignoring those signs, because we're young, we think we're invincible. And that's one of the difficulties of being young. You think you're invincible, and then time catches up with you and you realize you ain't.
You don't know what not even have to.
Wow. Okay. So you didn't obviously come out of that marriage. You said the divorce was a little bit messy, as in I'm saying a little bit messy to kind of cushion it. You're saying he was not the most accommodating person. Yeah, it was not the easiest to deal with. How did you manage to navigate that then? Because that's energy sapping, that's draining, that's tiresome.
Honestly, God, that is when my spiritual life got stronger. Because I felt like I was at the lowest point because I've never been through anything like that. the worst thing I think I've been through was my parents' divorce and my papa passing away. So, like, this was something that was it didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand why I was hurt and why he was hurting me. But that's where it was hard for me to process everything. So when I went through that, I had the support of my family. I was building on my spiritual life because it was either I go lower or I pick myself up and go higher. Um, and as I was building my spiritual life, everything became so easy. Like things that I was scared of, I was no longer scared of. I was scared of losing him because I didn't know how to financially take care of myself. I was scared of losing him because I never lived by myself at all. I went from college to marriage. So
Wow.
I had no idea what this new life that I was about to embark on that I was had no experience at. But once I started building my spiritual life and speaking things into existence, I got promoted and I was making more money than I ever made before. I moved into, I remember this particular apartment complex I kept seeing. I'm like, man, and again, I'm 21. Like, man, I wish I could live in those apartments. They are so dope. They are so pretty. I moved into those apartments by myself. I fully furnished my own place. I got my own car. And mind you, while we're going through the divorce, he said, you'll never be able to survive on your own. He cut my credit cards. He cut my cell phone off. Like everything was pretty much in his name. He kicked me out of my house. Because he was now having another girlfriend and he wanted me out of the house. So I'm telling you, and 2006 was the worst year of my life from what I remember. My brother's wife had passed away from a tragic car accident. At that same time, me and him it was rough. Our relationship was going through everything. And that's when I found out that he cheated. I didn't leave right away when he cheated. I was trying to fight for my marriage again because I was like, I don't want to get a divorce. But at the same time, he was still messing with other women and doing his thing. So I'm going to Texas to be with my brother and my family to mourn my sister-in-law, who I've known since I was 5 years old. And she was ripped away from us. So as I'm going through this and we're going through the funeral, the night of the funeral, my husband at the time called me and said, change the locks on the door. All your stuff is in the garage. And when you get back, you have no house. Like, you have to move. And I was like, excuse me? Excuse me? I didn't know legal terms then. I didn't have a lawyer. I wasn't aware of the community state laws in Texas. So I'm just like, I'm homeless. Like, he literally packed all my stuff up. And when I went home, I saw that he took all of our wedding pictures down. He packed all of my stuff as if I didn't even exist because he had another woman in the house while I was mourning and being with my brother for a few weeks. I was gone for a few weeks. So yeah, it was just a downward spiral where I was like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to survive through this. I literally felt like I was dying. But God, that's why I say, but God literally saved me. It was my spiritual life that saved me, Yeah, he brought people in my life that was so unexpected that helped me survive this. Yeah. And it had, once you know God and when he has saved you in your darkest moments, when you have no one to rely on but him, you're not fearful anymore. Because you're like, I got God. I'm royalty. Like, I'm good. Like, nothing can break me because I know God has my back. When you go through darkness, when you go through tragedy, yeah, it hurts for a moment. But when you're a child of God and you know God, it's only a moment. It's only temporary. And I've been through it a couple of times, so it doesn't scare me anymore. That fear of things not going as planned. I pray through my life. The decisions I make, I have discernment. That's why with Ready to Love, when they eliminated me, okay, I felt a little type of way. Like, what's wrong with what? But then I was like, okay, God, that wasn't your plan. My husband was not there. My man was not there. And I went through this experience for a reason, but I'm good, you know? So yeah, that is the gist of when you ask, how did I make it through that? I made it through it. Yeah.
Man, this is some good. You know what? I've interviewed so many people from Ready to Love, but listen, normally when I mean, everyone's got good stories, but to
Right.
honest, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is the most
It's a good story.
heartbreaking, juicy, entertaining, sad story. Like this is all combined. It's a super story. It's a book in itself,
Yeah, absolutely.
and that's just the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what I want to do? You're the first person I'm going to do it for. I'm going to need you to come back a little bit later on this season and tell us the part 2 when we talk about the 9-year relationship, because I don't. Yeah, we need a separate segment so we can dissect that properly. You know what I'm saying? Because this is meant to be about Ready to Love, and I feel like I can sit here all day and talk to you, but the audience might try and kill me, because we need to go into that properly and get a full-on dissection. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is my promise. We're going to get you on here again.
Okay. I'm ready for it.
Part 2's on that. Part 2's on that. Part 2's on that. Okay, cool. So let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Since you've shown, and I think everyone can see this, you know, you've shown a maturity and a self-awareness, which very few people have. I've said that to everyone. I honestly, I believe that because the way you're articulating and the way that you're able to see various viewpoints on a scenario.
Right.
What then makes you drawn to go to Ready to Love? What took you there?
Oh Lord, child. I really, so my best friend reached out to me, and she was like, you need to be on this show. And I was a fan of Ready to Love. I'm a fan, like I said. I've watched it. I've seen all the seasons. We have girlfriend chats about it. Like we're fans. I'm a super fan. So when I heard they were coming to DC, I didn't think that I'm gonna apply for the show. I know the dating scene was raggedy, but my friends were aware of just my story, and they believed that I should go on there because they're like, you are ready for love. You're a good woman, and I think that you should try and try something different, because I did the dating apps. You know, I dated intentionally. I'm a very direct woman, but I seem to continue to run into walls. I don't have a clock on myself, so don't get me wrong. I'm not like desperate. I'm like, oh my God, I need to find my husband. But I am ready to love. I'm ready to have a relationship that I can actually build on. So I just thought that this would be something different, because the process, they go through interviews, they do the psych evaluations, they do the background checks, like they ask the hard questions for us. So they try to bring like-minded people who are actually ready to build something together, and we date each other, and versus me dating all over DC and having to dodge thousands of doggone bullets. Like, how many bullets do I need to dodge? I'm over it. So with this, I just, I decided to go ahead and go through the process. Now, like I told you, I'm a woman of God, so I did pray through it, and I was okay of being on the show or not being on the show. I was just letting God lead me. So once it happened, like when I was doing my interviews and I was talking to them, I felt very comfortable and I felt very confident, and I just knew that this is probably a process that I'm gonna go through. And I was okay with that. So I know now, like the men and women that I have met on there, I met them for a reason. And I really genuinely care for all of them. Some of them I don't care for. You'll find that out later.
I understand.
But I genuinely do care for these people, and I have grown to have a bond with them. And these are people who were brought in my life for a reason. And it might not be for love, and it's not for love, but it's definitely for a reason. I do feel that. So I'm just I'm going through it. I'm still going through it right now. So we'll see what happens. Can't predict the future.
Wow. So for you, your friend kind of was pushing you to go into the show in a sense. So that was for you. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, they pushed me to go into the show. I was a little nervous because I'm like, I have a relationship podcast as well.
Okay, come on now.
Yeah. So before the show, I was already kind of putting myself out there and putting my story out there. So a lot of people knew, people who were close to me know what I've been through. And they know the details of how close I've been to walking down that aisle, or how close the work that I've done to try to make a connection and have love. So the people who are close to me, my friends, my family, they are always like, you deserve love. Like, you are a woman who deserves it. So go for it. So it's just something different. But I don't regret anything at all.
Okay. So then you get on to Ready to Love. You've done all the interviews and everything like that. You get chosen to be on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get to the mixer. Get to the mixer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Who did you first meet in the mixer?
The first person that said hello to me was Tyrone.
Okay.
But he wasn't the first that I noticed in an attractive way. Not that Tyrone's not attractive, but he wasn't the first that I noticed. The first person that I noticed was Cornelius. I thought he was very attractive.
He's a handsome boy, isn't he?
He is handsome. A little chocolate milk drop. And he was dressed nice.
Smile nice.
Smile nice. He was very sweet and kind. So yeah.
Okay. So you met Tyrone first, but then the first person who you found attraction to was Cornelius. Okay. Yes. And actually, that was going to be one of my questions, which was because obviously the Christian connection, obviously Cornelius, yourself, we don't ever see that on the show. So did you guys ever have any kind of conversations, talks no?
Nope. Never.
The Holy Spirit missed that connection?
Yeah, Holy Spirit missed that connection. I mean, the Holy Spirit, and then Camille made her connection. So it's like that. He didn't even notice my ass. Camille had that green dress on. She was popping, and she was, her and Cornelius made that connection quick. So I didn't have my chance to get to know the brother. And we never, it was just maybe a hello, how are you? But we never had a one-on-one.
Yeah, you see, she came out like principality. That's why. Okay, okay. No, it's a shame because obviously, like I said, because now obviously I'm hearing yourself. You're obviously into, you're a born again Christian. I can hear that, and I'm, Cornelius is also that too. That would have been another connection too. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously there's not a lot of born again Christians who are going on the show, so it would have been interesting to have seen that kind of connection. Okay.
Now,
okay,
let me get something straight real quick.
Okay.
I am a Christian, but I'm more spiritual than religious. I ain't gonna sit here and act. I'm not waiting till I get married. Not saying that I can't, but I believe in God. I'm a spiritual woman. I'm a Christian, but I could not say that me and Cornelius would have been a good match just because, he's a little bit more, I guess a little bit more religious than I am in that way.
Oh,
so.
you saying? Oh, you saying? Oh, well. Oh. What you saying?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Like I like having sex.
I mean, we all do, girl, but you gotta wait.
I listen. That is still a current struggle of mine. I'm working on that, but I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it 100 with you. I know God. I'm a woman of God. Absolutely, but that is my struggle.
Okay. So wait. Let's clarify. Is it a struggle? Because listen, I struggle. Listen, don't get twisted. Listen, a brother out here, it ain't easy. Okay, I defended Cornelius on live. It ain't easy. Okay, you're gonna stroke my thigh, we're gonna be in trouble. Now, okay. So, are you saying are you saying it's not easy, or you're saying you are going? There's a difference between I'm gonna do it, and there is I am not trying to do that, but I may fall. That's what Cornelius was kind of saying. Is that what we're saying?
And it's the first part. I'm going to have sex.
Okay. Let me sip some water.
Drink the water, child. I know.
Okay. So you're right. Yeah, you and Cornelius. That's why the Holy Spirit probably didn't want to catch you. Someone's gonna get in trouble. Okay, cool. I mean, that makes.
And honestly, if it's a right connection, right?
Yeah.
And I will respect if I'm really connected with you in that way.
Yeah.
I will respect you and I will try to go through that with you. It would be very, very difficult for me. But if I feel like this person is worth it and I see a future with them, absolutely I can do it. I can do it. It would be very, very difficult. But as far as a choice for myself, if someone dates me, that's not like something in the forefront where I'm like, oh, I'm waiting till I get married. I gotta be honest about that. Sounds good, but yeah, that would be challenging for me.
That's cool. No worries. That's why I get it.
Wait. You speaking all about the Lord and God, but when it comes,
I'm just saying, listen, I mean, I start off on the blockage, which is I'm not trying to do that at all. That's not my MO. Can I fall? This is why I have to run away. This is why I have to run. This is why I have to
you have to
run.
run away. I know.
That's what we got. We gotta run. We gotta do Joseph here, baby.
I know.
Get
I
with
will
two
do that.
fine
I'm getting
people.
better. I think I can get to that point. I will
Okay.
get to that point. But just pray for me.
Don't worry. Holy Spirit gonna
Okay.
activate. Holy Spirit
Yes.
gonna activate. Holy Spirit gonna activate. Yeah, we're gonna get it. Don't worry. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, cool. So fair enough. That makes I mean that gives us a bit more clarity then.
Yes.
So then okay, my question was going to be, what do you define as connection? Because everybody said, I realize I don't ask people this when we come to interview. Everybody says I had a connection, and I never actually ask people what connection means for them, because I'm sure everyone has different definitions. What does connection mean for you?
Connection means to me like there's like a vibe, there's a flow, there's comfort there, there's compatibility, there's commonality. I can't, when I say connection, I'm not saying, oh, this is someone who I see a future with, this is gonna be bae, it's gonna be boyfriend. There's just something that I feel that we can move. I have an interest of continuing to get to know this person. That's where the connection is. And it might not even be romantic. I didn't really have time enough to really see if there is a romantic connection with any of these men when I was going through the process. There was interest there to get to know them. A couple of the guys that I actually conversed with and I felt was a connection there. But I absolutely could not say there's a romance type thing there.
Okay. So for you then, who did you connect with then? Who did you feel like you connected with?
My deepest connection was with Phil. Me and Phil actually talked every day. He called me in the morning, during the day, in the evening. He was a comfort for me. And I can't say that it was like anything sexual or romantic or anything like that, because we just never talked about anything like that. It was always very much of us getting to know each other, being that support for each other during the process, and just enjoying getting to know who he is. He has an amazing personality, super sweet guy, very, very easy to talk to, easy on the eye. Like I absolutely thought he was attractive, think he's attractive, but it was just more of like on a friendship level. If I would have continued going through the process, could it possibly have gone into something a little bit deeper? Maybe. But at this point, like we're friends. Like we're friends and we're gonna stay friends. So that's how I feel about it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I mean, Phil, from what I'm seeing, I mean, he's coming up and he seems like a very genuine, individual. We saw him today as well on the show with Aisha as well. Showed some really good heart and was clearly a safe space for Aisha as well. So I can see that genuineness being attractive to a woman as well,
Absolutely. Because women like to be, one of the things about us, one, we like to feel desired. We like to be heard, and we like to be reassured that you hear us, and that you care for us. So Phil exudes that type of personality where he's a great listener and he's paying attention and he's giving feedback like he cares. If he says, "How are you?" and you say, "I'm all right," he's not going to just move on to something else. He's going to be like, "Well, why are you all right? What's going on?" That's the type of guy he is. And that's why if it's relationship or whatever, Phil feel a good friend at the very beginning. And that's what it is about him. He doesn't go straight into the sexual part. He doesn't go straight into trying to flirt. He goes into a friendship. And that's where he and I started, and that's where we're currently at. Mhm. Mhm. And I had a connection with Tyrone. Me and Tyrone's connection was a little bit different because it was based on our vulnerability with each other. At
Mm.
the mixer, they didn't show it on the episodes, but he and we had a moment where we were very open and vulnerable about where we came from and our healing. And he was just very open to me, and I could appreciate that from him. How we connected was, I noticed, because as Tyrone, he hasn't been quiet about this. Like he's been very open to letting people know he has mental illness. He suffers with PTSD. He has anxiety, and you could see it on him at the mixer. So I was looking at him, and he was kind of fidgeting. He was just looking nervous, like he was just like like he was in one place, but he couldn't stop moving. So I was like, Tyrone, come sit with me. And so he sat by me, and I was like, I noticed that you were kind of like fidgeting your feet. And he was like, wow, it's crazy that you noticed that, because I'm kind of going through it right now. I'm feeling anxious. And so he opened up more to me about his military background, and just his his mental illness. And I appreciated that. And I have grown up with family that has mental illness, so I empathize with him about that struggle. So that's where he and I was able to connect, was just being able to be very open with each other very quickly. And I appreciate, and that's one of the great things about Tyrone, is he is very much willing to open himself up about his struggles, and I can respect that. So I absolutely had that connection with him.
Love that. So obviously you had that connection with Tyrone, but would you say, and this is fair enough. In all honesty, you were ready to deal with all that he came with? Because I know we're on the show and we're talking about connections.
Yeah.
Connection meaning we able to, flow, move. But when you envisage your life, were you envisaging that you could take all of that on? Because Tyrone's that's quite a lot to deal with if you're the opposite
It is
party.
a lot to deal with. And honestly, I wouldn't have been able to take that on. Because for me personally, I even have anxiety, and energy, and all of that is a big thing for me. I need to be able to stay at a calm place and be able to I meditate through the day. I just got to keep myself calm. And I think that would be a lot for me to take on, because I am an empath. I'm a caterer. I care a lot. In one of my struggles that I had to realize, and I realized this in therapy, was I can be a Captain Saver.
Come
I want
on now. Preach
everybody,
yourself.
and that really was taking away my happiness. And my therapist had to tell me to stop, because I was doing that with my family, my friends, and I was pushing my own happiness behind on trying to save people, because I know that about myself. Someone with Tyrone's condition, I definitely would be a friend for him, but I cannot be romantically involved with someone that is suffering with that, because it would take a lot for me, on a lot for me.
Yeah, I can understand that, and again, that's fair, because I think, like I said, it's quite a lot anyway for anyone to deal with. But then if you know yourself, and this is why it's important to know yourself, that you could be falling prey to going into that cycle, if you allow yourself to be in a certain situation with certain people. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Then, I mean, so how do we get to the point where obviously we're having that conversation? He's saying that you're aggressive, which I know that was edited and it's taken back. I mean, you can explain it here for us as well. But at the time, obviously, when we did our panels, we were all up on Tyrone, like we were lighting him up. You know what I'm saying? we lit him up. Okay, so, but yeah, I mean, for you, how when you came into that conversation, obviously, did you know that you were going to have a conversation about your connection, or do you think it was just going to be a normal date? How did you prepare your mind coming into that conversation?
I did not know going into that date that I didn't even know that Tyrone was going to be my date. So I kind of walked into it. And when I got there and I saw him, I was like, okay, we're going to talk about the elephant in the room. Because clearly, we already know where we stand. So this isn't a date on like a romantic connection. This is something that we need to talk about of what happened. And what you didn't see, which was edited out, it also, a lot of things happened that was not on camera. So me and Tyrone, when I told you about the initial connection and I was starting to feel, and I'm like trying to do like my check-ins to make sure that I put my energy in the right place. So I reached out to Tyrone and he's like, oh, you call me at 12:30, blah, blah, blah. First of all, we all talk to each other late throughout the night, including Tyrone and I. We've talked late throughout the night. Sometimes we text late. So I hadn't heard from him because we were all starting to do our dating and connecting with other people. And I'm a direct person. I'm a communicator, So I reached out to him and I was like, hey, do you feel like you're still interested? And it wasn't to put pressure on him or say that, to pick me or anything like that. It's just checking in because we haven't really talked that much. And I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. So then that's when the next morning he was like, hey, can we talk? And I was like, sure. So we talked on the phone and he explained, and this was in the morning, and he explained, he was like, yeah, no, I'm absolutely interested. I just, I have connected with other people, but I got to be mindful of continuing my connections with you. And he said that he was like, oh, and you're the only person that I told production that I was interested in. So I was like, okay, so that gave me reassurance. I was like, okay, I'm gonna still continue to build something with Tyrone as I'm building things.
He gave you assurance.
He gave me assurance, yeah, reassurance. What do you mean?
Scoot back. Let's go.
Okay,
because my brain got lost.
Okay.
Okay, wait. Just take that last like minute back and just. I got lost a little bit. I heard it, but I didn't hear it, so I just want to make sure. So wait, he's talking to production, and then he's saying that he is feeling you or liking you. What was it?
Right. So sometimes, when we have like our commentary, we're talking to production and we're telling them, hey, this is like when you're seeing the show and you're seeing us talking on our own. I'm really feeling Phil. I'm really feeling Tyrone. And this is why I'm feeling Tyrone. So when I was talking to him, he said, you're the only one that I told production that I was connecting to. Like he brought my name up. So, right. Drink, sip on that tea, child. So I was like, okay. So once he told me that, I was like, okay, so that makes me feel like he's still wanting to continue to develop or whatever. So we hung up and I went on with my day. And a couple hours later, he calls me and he's like, yeah, so from our conversation earlier, I actually don't feel like we have enough of a connection. But I'm here for you if you need anything. I'm here to be your support. I'm your friend. So if you need anything, cool. But yeah, good luck through the process. I was like, okay. I was very confused.
But don't go yet. Don't go yet.
Okay.
We just gotta soak that up. What you just said there. Let me summarize what I think I just heard, but I want to make sure I want to hear what I heard. Okay. Are you saying that he spoke to production, as I'm guessing they always ask you who you feeling? He then says the only one he's feeling at that point was you. Right? Yeah. And then how long between that point and the next point where he now tells you directly that he's no longer interested?
It was probably like 2 hours, 3 hours.
What?
Yeah. It's like 2 or 3 hours.
Okay. Oh my days. Okay. So
yeah.
Okay, in that 2 hours, is that when you text him to say what's going on, or that's separate time?
That was before we had the conversation. So the text, when I asked what was going on, are you still interested? That was before we had the conversation where he was like, oh no, I'm absolutely still interested. You're the only one who told production that I was interested in. So after that, a couple hours later, he changed his mind. And that's where I was taken back, because it's fine if you are feeling other people, if you don't feel the connection anymore. But what confused me was you sounded so different a couple hours previous. What happened within these couple hours where you're just like, oh, I don't feel a connection at all. Like, I'm moving on. I'm going over here. I later found, you saw on the show that he said Shiloh happened, which explains why she felt the need to tell me, oh, well, I talked to Tyrone and he said he can only juggle 3 and you happen to be number 4. So
But
that's what I
how?
was like, I don't know.
But how? Because if he just told, even if it's just two, even if Shallow usurped you, you're still number 2. I'm assuming
Mhm,
because he said you were number 1 to production,
mhm.
and then all of a sudden, 2 or 3 hours later, whatever magic she did with intimacy has now got him to feel this way.
The
Okay,
intimacy coach, child. She good with them words. She
she good in words.
put them in.
She know how to get a brother twisted up. Okay, so he's twisted up, and he's now got Charlotte's number 1, which is cool. Okay,
Yeah,
okay. I
fine.
mean, it's still
Keep it
crazy for me,
going.
but
Yeah,
we can rock with that.
yeah,
But then you've gone from 1 to 4, like you're playing Formula One. How,
yeah,
I, I
yeah. Within a few hours.
within a few hours.
Mhm. Mhm.
Did you know? Did he ever? I'm assuming he probably didn't, but I just want to ask. Did he ever let you know there was other people that he was feeling on this connection?
Not really. So when we talked, he did say, he was like, I have connected with other people. Well, he said, no, I have my connections with you, and you're the only one who I told production about. But yes, I have connected with other people, but I need to be mindful to continue building my connection with you. Those were his exact words. So I was like, that's fine, because I've had my connections with other people as well. And I just wanted to make sure where to place my energy. Because in the process, everything moves so fast, and you don't have time, you don't want to waste your time.
Mm,
And that's why I was trying to be a communicator, an over communicator, and just being like, hey, if you're not feeling it, completely fine. Do you? I just need to know where I need to move. That's it. Um, so when he switched it up on me, it just made me feel very mishandled. And that's when I kept telling him, when we were talking and at our date, and he kept saying, what could I have done better? And I was like, they didn't show, but I was like, you could have told me in the first initial conversation when we talked, instead of you saying I'm the only person you told production that you're feeling, you could have just told me, listen, I'm connecting with other people. I don't even know where I stand, but I know that this is where I'm at. You could have been honest, because we were having the conversation. You might as well just be honest and open and upfront. And that's what I needed him to understand. It's just during this process, just don't do that. Just don't do that with other women. It's not a good look. It doesn't feel good to be told one thing and a few hours later being told another thing. You have an absolute right to connect who you want to connect to. You barely know me. We barely have a connection. But I just felt like that was very poor communication on
of
his
course.
end. So the problem, and where it got kind of back and forth, was you told me it was you didn't feel like you had a connection. And then after he said that, a few hours, maybe like an hour later, I did text him. And I was like, I'm just confused on what happened within these few hours. And he told me, I've been hearing that people are giving ultimatums, and I feel like you're trying to give me an ultimatum. And I was like, I'm absolutely not trying to give you an ultimatum. I'm just trying to figure out where to place my energy and if there's still a connection. And he didn't say anything after that. Like, he totally left my text on ice. So the next information that I received was when we were at deliberation, and Shiloh was like, oh, well, I talked to Tyrone that day, and he told me that he can only juggle 3 and this is too much for him. So I'm like, okay, first it's an ultimatum. Now you can't juggle 3. So, like, it doesn't matter what it is. If you're not feeling the sister, that's fine. But I just feel like you're trying to place things on me to make you feel better on making a deeper connection with Shiloh. And just have that deep connection with Shiloh, but don't try to make me feel like I'm the problem. And that's what I didn't like. So when we were eating, when we were on our date, and he was like, oh, your aggressiveness, oh, your body language when I got Shiloh's number, like all these things, these
Stuff that
issues.
weren't important.
Yeah, things that weren't important and things that were absolutely not true. Because I was like, I didn't give you an ultimatum. I wasn't upset about you getting Shiloh's number. This is the process that we're going through, and I'm absolutely not being aggressive. And that is a triggering word for any Black woman. So, but you know, me and Tyrone are fine now. He's apologized since then. We're like in a really good place. But at that time during that date, I just really needed him to understand, like, you're not about to like make my character seem like an aggressive, crazy, thirsty
Yeah.
person, because that is not me at all. Like, I go with the flow, but I want it to be natural, and I definitely don't want to force anyone to be with me. If you're feeling a connection with Shiloh, she's a beautiful woman. Go for it. You know, I'm feeling a connection with Phil. I like Frank's voice. I think he's sexy. You know, we're all getting to know each other. So that's what I really wanted people to understand past what they saw on TV. That's the full on story. I really was not having a hard time with rejection. That was fine. It was just how the whole thing was handled and the communication that came with it is what I needed him to understand. Like, hey, you do better.
Okay. I get it. I'm listening.
Mhm.
So do you feel like any of your texts, maybe, or conversation with him might have been assertive?
Probably. Tyrone is not, as I've gotten to know him, he does not deal with conflict well.
Okay.
And he's not a confrontational person. And probably me just being straight up like, hey, you still feel the connection or not, it probably did come off as assertive to him. And I understand that. You know, now that I understand who he is, I get why he would feel that way. But now that he understands who I am, he understands that's not what it was. And
Of
again,
course.
we were getting to know each other. We can only go off of our own perspectives and our point of views. And I respect his. But the reason for the discussion was just so he can really understand my point of view and who I am, you know, and what he's assuming that was not it. And I needed him to understand that because we got TV on us. We got to look, you ain't about to make me looking like I'm this
Any
aggressive,
back woman.
right, angry Black woman trying to push men to be with me. No.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. That makes a lot of sense. When obviously Shadow says what he said to her in the lounge, how you
Mhm.
feel? How you take that? How did you take that?
Shiloh and I were starting to build, you know, a little bit of a bond during that process. So when she told me that, um, I did feel some type of way. And I told her this because I felt like the way she delivered it was just the timing of it and the way it was said. It was like, oh, he can only, and you guys didn't hear this part, but he said he can only juggle three, and you happens to be number four. To me, saying you happens to be number four threw a little bit of shade. And I was like, oh, you going for the overkill. And I was already kind of emotional when I was explaining the story. So for someone who knew, you know, that the deliberation that you saw wasn't our first. So the women were very well aware that me and Tyrone were building this connection. So for her to kind of say it that way, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I did explain that to her. And she did explain that that wasn't what she was trying to put across. That wasn't, you know, she wasn't trying to make me feel that way, which is understandable. But that is how I felt. And I didn't appreciate it. And she wasn't the only one who said he called and told her that. Zadia also said, oh, he called and told me the same thing. So I was like, oh, you're making your round to all the women but me. You're telling all the women how you feel but me. And you have me on ice on these text messages, on my one last text message that I sent you, explaining to you that I was not giving you an ultimatum. But he called all the women saying, oh, I feel so bad. I had to break it. They didn't know it was me until I said it at the deliberation. But he was just basically like, I had to break up with someone because I can't juggle more than three.
Hey, so who's the third person? Wait, Is that Sabrina? Sabrina, third person, right?
Yeah, he was making his connection with Sabrina and I believe Zadia and Shiloh. Yeah.
So he told Zadia and he told um
Shiloh.
Shiloh.
Mhm.
Did he tell Sabrina?
No, he didn't tell Sabrina. Sabrina was taken back too. Sabrina was like, "Oh, really? Okay." So I think
Hmm.
Tyrone. I know he had the right intentions. Like
Yeah, I
I
believe
do,
that too.
yeah, I know he had the right intentions, and I do believe he got on Ready to Love to find love. Like he wasn't on there as being an opportunist or trying to drop his business or whatever. He was on there to truly make his connections. And he made a connection and he was one and done. He did a Camille. He was like, "Oh, I like Shiloh. I'm good on everybody else." Like Camille's like she like Cornelius, she good on everybody else. So I think that you know, it was just the delivery of everything as far as how everything was handled. But him wanting someone and desiring one person, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I think that he's courageous for being honest and upfront, which a lot of men don't do that. They play
Mhm.
games, they juggle women, they tell them all the same thing, they copy and paste. At least he wasn't copying and pasting. So, I can't appreciate that.
Mm. That's mad. Mm, mm, mm. So then Zadia and Shiloh they didn't know it was you until you were explaining in the women's lounge.
Hmm.
Then we see Shiloh saying what she's saying.
Hmm.
Was there anything that we didn't see that happened in that scene?
No, I did tell Shiloh, I was like, well, I don't understand why he's talking to you about this and not
Yeah.
me. On the scene you did, like Tommy, he was like, well, the delivery could have been better. And I even told Tommy again, like, yeah, he should have been talking to me about it and not to these two women. And I told her, like, he had me on ice. Like, he left me a text. I left him a text and he didn't say anything, but he's calling you to pouring out his heart on how he feels bad. But yet, I don't know that. I didn't know he felt bad. I had no idea how he was feeling, you know? So I did explain that to her. Like, I don't understand why he's talking to you
That sounds like um that sounds like someone who's not he's conflict avoidant, and rather than dealing with the situation head on, people pleasing energy too, where you don't want to actually be really honest and
about
about
it.
how you're feeling towards a person. You
Yeah.
kind of use back alley routes. It's almost like how us man them, when we're trying to get our girlfriends back, we speak to their friends. It's the
Mhm.
same kind of principle being used, where
Yeah.
you're using back doors rather than just coming through the front door.
Right.
And I think we said on the live that we think Tyron's got great intentions. I don't think he's a
Mhm.
bad guy,
Right.
but he's also not a good guy. I say this all the time, every single time. He's not a good guy. He's a nice guy, and that's the
Mhm.
problem. Nice
Right.
guys use back doors. Nice guys use passiveness. Nice guys don't tell you the full truth. They
Mhm.
don't know how to set up good boundaries.
Mhm.
Nice guys, they are nice,
Right.
but they're not good
Mhm.
because they don't do the basics.
Right.
In terms of how to deal with communication, how to express how they feel, to go
Right.
after what they want. Do you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, I see that, and yeah, okay, wow, okay, that's a whole lot of light
Yeah.
on that situation.
Mhm.
And obviously, I think he's mentioned on another interview with Crystal, you talking about that editing piece of the aggressive comment. He did actually clear that up as well.
Mhm. Yeah. I know,
Mm.
and I think when we were on our date, he did say, when I told him, aggressive, I don't really like that word, and we were talking about it, he did say, well, maybe I shouldn't have used the word aggressive. So they didn't show that in the editing, but he did, say that in the moment. So, it just it's and I think he absolutely, I bet you Tyrone will never use that word again. Unless it really, really is obvious, especially to Black women, because I think this was a lesson learned for a lot of people. They're not realizing that we are trying our best to get out of the stereotype of angry Black women. aggressive, angry. Every time we are direct or we speak our mind, it's not always out of anger. It's just us
Mm.
being able to communicate. It's that simple. I didn't do no roll neck. I didn't get in his face. I wasn't doing any of that. So, um, I think that America learned their lesson on that word as well as he did. So,
Mm. Okay, so you obviously had a connection with Tyrone. You had a little bit of connection with Phil.
mhm.
You found Cornelius attractive. You did obviously then. I know Corey did try to take you on a date and stuff and that.
I
Talk
try
to
to
us
take
a little bit
everybody on
about
a
that.
date.
Talk to us a little bit about that. Mm.
First of all, I love Corey. Corey is my brother. We have a very close bond. We talk often. So that's my boy. So I'm protective of Corey. Even though I went in on him on the show, I do protect my boy. So Corey is what y'all saw on TV really is Corey. Like he's not acting. He's not an actor. He wasn't picked from somewhere. Like he really Corey lacks a little bit of self awareness, and I told him this. And he really does, in his mind, think that it makes sense. He thinks copy and paste makes sense. He thinks that making every single woman feel super special makes sense. I think he was very confused on the process.
Mm.
I he still had that mentality of being the first date king and trying to make a name for himself on making women feel special versus actually making a connection with one woman. And that's why I was explaining to him, like, it's wonderful that you know how to be romantic, but women don't feel special if you're being romantic with everybody. Women don't feel special when you're trying to make every single woman that you connect to or communicate with feel special. And I think at that point of the process, Corey had made his connections. But at that point, that's when you kind of hone in with who you are feeling the most. And you kind of give
Mm.
that person most of your energy. But he was trying to give everybody that attention and putting the cards down for Courtney and they can tell him mean, I want you to meet my parents, but telling Courtney he want her to meet his parents too. Like it's like, look, your intentions are great, but give that to one person. One, not everybody. Um, so I think that's just, it's just how Corey is. And I think that it's
You're a
gonna take
player.
yeah, he tried to be a player. Corey ain't no player. Look, Corey
Oh,
ain't no
we
player.
know he's not smooth enough. No offense to Corey. We've said this on live. He's not. But he like I get it. He's trying to create that great first experience. He's
Yes.
going way the wrong way around it. But
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
okay.
I think hopefully when he observes himself, maybe, I don't know, he'll be able to make these corrections. But I also think, it's going to take a special someone that's going to connect with Corey, that's going to understand his quirkiness and appreciate his try hardness. I just want him to do that with someone special and who deserves it. Because I know Corey does have a good heart. His intentions are there. He just needs to like reel it in and not put it
Mm.
all out there so much for everybody. It doesn't have to be with every single person all the time. Like, do it at the right time with the right person. Let the time pass a little bit before you do all that.
Okay, okay. Looking back at the show now, or even looking at the show now, who do you wish you had more time with, and who do you wish you explored maybe a more of a connection with?
Again, like everybody's a homie at this point, but if I had a choice, if I stayed on the show, I definitely would have wanted to explore getting to know Walter more. As I've gotten to know Walter outside of the show, I know that he's like a pretty awesome guy, great head on his shoulders, super easy to talk to, also um, easy on the eyes. So I think Walter's a pretty dope dude. Um, of course, I would have wanted to dig in a little bit deeper with Phil to try to get to know him on, several levels because I was
Mm.
liking what I was getting to know in the process. Um, and that's about it. I mean, I love Frank. I think Frank is amazing. And I really love his energy. So he probably would have been somebody else I would have been open to try to get to know a little bit more. So yeah, Frank,
Mm.
Phil, and Walter.
As the audience brought up to my time, I almost forgot about it. So the case of yourself and uh,
Dante.
Dante, even sorry, apologies.
Yes,
What happened there? Because I ain't gonna lie to you, the editing maybe, but what we saw,
I
it looked
know.
like you were talking to yourself.
I know.
You was asking all the questions. You even
Mm-hmm.
in the end even ran out of questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to see from your perspective. I want to see what was your perspective on that scenario then.
Okay, so getting to know me just within this hour and 20 minutes, does it seem like I would talk to a man who's not talking back to me?
I mean, no, I don't think you would, but I'm biased because I've seen you in this
Right.
1 hour and 20 minutes. But yeah,
So
definitely.
I would never talk to a man who's not actually engaging. Absolutely not. I'll give you two questions. If you're looking at me in silence with deer in the headlight, look, we're done. So that's not what happened. Also, I know Dante previous to the show, he's a homie. So
Okay.
there was never going to be a love connection with he and I. So I was acting goofy. So when I was like, do you think I'm cute? Do you think I was literally being comfortable? Dante was talking to me. We were laughing. We were shooting our shit. We were just, it was super casual. It wasn't that deep. Um, and when I grabbed him, I was like, it's so good to see you. It's because I know him. So it's like, oh my God, it's
Mm.
so good to see you. So yeah, it really wasn't like he was just staring me down. I don't know why he said on the thing where he was like, well, me and Kheri's conversation, it wasn't really giving whatever he said. I was like, really, Dante?
Well, maybe that's what he thought.
It maybe, but
Have you spoken to him about it?
not really.
You need
It's
to
like
ask your boy.
I don't really need to because I don't really care that much. But it is what it is. Like again, there was never going to be a love connection between Dante and I because he's a homie, he's a friend. But at that date, yeah, it was like we were talking, we were shooting the shit, and then when you heard me say, "Well, I got nothing else to say," I didn't have nothing else to say. Neither did he.
Mad. So you weren't trying to connect with him at all.
Like we
I
was,
don't know if you actually said that on your cutscene whether you were trying to connect to him.
yeah, no, I wasn't trying to connect with him in that way. No, he's
Hmm.
cool. You know,
Okay.
it's just he's a cool guy. He's an attractive guy, but
He's a
I
very
wasn't
attractive
trying.
guy.
Yeah, he's very attractive, but I wasn't trying to connect with him in that way.
Have you known Dante long?
I've known Dante since I've lived in DC. We played kickball together, so he
Okay.
was on the kickball team. So I'm aware of who he is. Yeah.
Okay. 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 Wait, I have to ask, when people say they know somebody, everyone has levels to how they say they know somebody. Do you know what I'm saying?
What?
When you say you know him, what do you mean you know him though? Cause I need to know. What do you mean when you know him? You mean
Well,
you know of him, or you know him,
no,
or
I
you
don't know
know
him.
him?
I know of him. Like we were on the
Ah,
kickball
okay.
team together. Yeah.
That's why he said what he said then.
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
if you know someone like that, you wouldn't have said that. Like, do you know what I mean?
sure. Yeah. I guess.
Yeah. Okay. That's to make sure. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. No worries. All right. Cool. Okay. All right. No. I get that. I get that. I'm with you on that. Okay. So I think I've asked my question and rounds on this section. So let me ask you a little bit of your thoughts. Maybe this episode then, because obviously this episode was a little bit, there was some kamikaze aspects to this episode. I want to kind of get your thoughts on this episode. Maybe choose one or two points of this episode where you were like, you know what I'm saying, you got a strong opinion on.
um. So with Camille, I love that she loves what she wants, knows what she wants. And I can appreciate that from a woman not wanting to waste men's time. I do think her attitude could have been better, when she was going on her dates. And because you are there. So at least try a little bit, try to get to know the brothers. You barely know Cornelius. And I know you know what you want, but you don't really know him yet. So I wish I would have seen, I hope to see her because I don't know how it plays out with these other episodes, but I hope to see her at least try to make some connections and try to get to know the guys. versus like I got a man already, so I'm not even trying to connect with you, because Cornelius isn't saying that. He's not saying, she's the only one making her claims already. And throughout the process, he hasn't been making his claims like that. He said he is absolutely connecting with Camille, but he does want to be open to getting to know other people. So I just wish she would have taken on that approach as well, instead of just claiming him so hard off the bat. Yeah, you're giving him, the brother, a little bit too much credit. Like, he's a good looking dude. I'm glad you like what you like, but let's realistically, try to just be open. So I would have liked to have seen that. I got a special place in my heart for Courtney. So I feel like it's their loss because she's not, I don't like them pinning her as like this sexual person, because that is not Courtney. Yes, she's comfortable. She's an alpha female, but that is not what she's all about. And they didn't showing her other side, because she's a mother. She loves her son and she talks about him, but they did not. And she did express other things. She has a great bit, like, she's a business lady. She's super smart.
She's a boss.
She's way more than just sexual being with beautiful curly hair. So I don't like that she's being pinned like that. And I really do think that the men didn't get to know her on that side of her, just based on maybe her being judged right off the bat. And also, she was being a little assertive, but that's court. If she sees something she wanted, she gonna go after it. But she also is definitely worth it. She's obviously one of my favorites. So,
I mean, I like Courtney too.
Yes.
Kheri,
what?
you gotta save your girl by telling her the truth.
I'm telling her the truth.
Yeah, no, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Darling, she was oozing trying to be sexual. Yeah. Listen, I defended Courtney from episode 1, and after that I couldn't defend her again. She was oozing, trying to use the sexual energy to lure Cornelius into the layer. Okay? Even on this episode.
I do not think that's all that she was trying to do. I think that's what y'all saw.
Agree.
I think that's what y'all saw. And those are the moments, like, they highlighted those moments. Yes, she's a flirt. Who isn't? Cornelius, okay, we know that he don't want to have sex, and he's trying to keep it, keep himself from doing that. But if he didn't say that and she was flirting with him, would y'all still be like, oh my God, she's doing a lot? It could be like, I don't think so. Because
was your hand on anybody's thigh? Was your hand on someone's thigh near to their groin? Talk to me.
No, but I'm not assertive like that.
No, but Kheri, we established earlier on, you ain't gonna be waiting for sex. You ain't be waiting. You know what I'm saying? But your hand was not on anybody's thigh, and it wasn't in the inner thigh either, next to the groin. Your hand wasn't there, baby. Her hand was moving like Abraham did to his servant. His hand was so close to the groin area. I don't know if she was asking for a promise or what, but her hand was all up in that. And then even when they had a double date a few days earlier on, she was all saying, I can grab this. And he was like, yeah. And then so there was a lot of sexual movements, okay, by Courtney. She knows exactly what she's doing.
I feel like y'all, okay, I get it.
Go on.
But I feel like y'all are acting like Cornelius is handicapped and he don't know how to speak. Like, everybody's saying Camille is aggressive. Cornelius is letting it happen and he cool with it. So why is everybody going after Camille? He could easily tell her to stop. When she went in on him at the pool party, he could have easily got up and walked away. He took it. So, like, he has as much of a responsibility of saying something. If he's uncomfortable, if he does not like something, he needs to open his mouth. When Courtney's hand was on his thigh, close to whatever, if he was uncomfortable, he could have got him, like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I'm gonna go get us something to drink. But he sat there and he didn't move her hand. So obviously he was okay with it. So I don't feel too sorry for Cornelius. Y'all need to stop feeling sorry for this man like he on the spectrum or something. He is fully capable of saying something or removing himself from a situation that he is not comfortable with. So stop coming for Camille's neck and stop calling Courtney sexual. She's flirting. Yeah. And Camille is just saying what she wants. So whatever.
Kheri, do you know what you had to do? You had to resurrect Camille to save Courtney. I just want to let you know you had to do that. You had to resurrect Camille to save Courtney. You had to renege your own statement. Stop calling Camille aggressive. Well, you were just saying she was moving a bit mad, and you had to renege on that in order to save Courtney. That should let us know that, sis, I hear you. The sister empowerment, sisterhood. You got to protect your sisters.
Whatever.
But listen, when you get behind the scenes, you can do it on here. That's fine. When you get behind the scenes, tell Courtney the truth. That
I
what
tell her the
she's
truth.
doing ain't gonna work. Okay.
I
The
want
girl
Courtney
says
to
she
be
a boss.
herself.
You can be you can do whatever you want to do. But
Some men like they thigh being rubbed on. Cornelius
They-
just
I love
maybe
my thigh being
Cornelius
rubbed
is
on.
like,
I love my thigh being rubbed on. But what
See?
she was doing, she was not giving me a choice to pursue. She was pursuing me. That's a problem.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because I have asked multiple men this,
Go on now.
and it's been half and half.
Mm.
I said, are you okay with a woman pursuing you? Some men say, I'm cool with it. I think it's sexy when a woman pursues me.
Mhm.
Some men are more traditionalists. They're like, no, I don't like for women to pursue me. I'm not okay with that. So maybe in this situation, because men have been okay with it and have received it, and she has succeeded on pursuing men and being assertive, she thought it would be the same way here. Not everybody's the same, which is fine, lesson learned. But I wouldn't like scorn her for being that way. There's a lot of, especially in DC. DC is known for women being assertive. I've seen it, and I'm not necessarily that way. But I'm not going to scorn women who want to be that way.
No, I don't want to scorn them. I don't want to scorn them. I want to save them by telling them that it's not meant to be happening. She was doing too much. She was doing too much. Right? And listen, it's not like she's a bad person. We're saying she was doing too much in those moments. Look, even when if you watch it again, I've done a video on this. The body language of Cornelius, he's in the corner and he's sitting like this. He's actually not leaning in, so he's not really involved. Now he's allowing it. I'm going to be with you like that. But she's actually the one that's pursuing the whole situation. So what happens in that scenario? Listen, I hear you. There are men that are going to say they want a woman to pursue. There's a lot of men lying too. Listen, yeah, there's a lot of men lying too, because the amount of pursuing that Courtney's willing to do. She's a boss. I hear that. Listen, be a boss. Be a boss. Boss what you want to boss. You understand? But when you get into a point where I said it in my video, she became one of the man them. And then Walter actually said the exact same thing. Here's why she became one of the man them. Way too much masculine energy. When you go like this, when you go to and say to a man, when he says, okay, I'm looking to not have sex, well, that can make you change your mind. You may think you're doing sexy. It's not sexy. It's not Mr. and Mrs. Smith here. That is what men do. You know when you tell a man, I'm not trying to bust it wide open just yet.
It's 2021. Some men are okay. So you have those
beta men. Do you want them?
You have your alpha males and you have your betas. I think that betas are okay with it. And you have your feminine men and you have your masculine men. I think masculine do not match with masculine.
That's very true.
Female energy. I think feminine men would be okay with the way that Courtney is. Feminine men, I think, are in beta men. Not that this is a negative, because I know men look at this as a negative or whatever. Some men are okay with women approaching them in that way. A feminine man who's okay with masculine energy would be a match for Courtney. But let me tell you something about Courtney. She still likes to be pursued. So even though she might give off, like at the beginning, like, hey, I'm feeling you, what's up? Then she's going to take a step back and let you do the rest of the work. So she's not masculine through and through. It's just her approach is a little bit masculine, because she probably just don't have time. She ain't trying to be all for the whatever. That's just how her personality is. Some men like it, some don't. Cornelius was pushed back in the corner looking scared. Understandable. That's too much for him. But some men will be okay with it and think it's kind of sexy. And I think that is
I would think it was sexy. No, I would think it was sexy. And guess why I'm thinking it's sexy? Because it's sexy, and take the Y off. Because that's what I'm interested in.
Okay, so you would the first thing that you would.
It's always going to be sexy if you're going to pursue me. You're a good-looking girl. You're going to pursue me. You're going to put it on me. You rub my thigh, fantastic. Let's go. Because what's going to happen is we're going to do our thing, and after that, I don't want to commit. Because
you'll be done with that. Now, what is it about men? Why do y'all think when a woman pursues you, and then you do have sex. Do you think is it too easy? Is that why?
Let me ask you this question. Would you put your man on the counter when you're having sex? Would you lift him up and put him on the counter?
I'm not capable of doing that.
No. If he was lighter than you, would you pick him up and put him on the counter?
No,
Why wouldn't you do that?
because I want to be put on the counter.
Because there's an order to things. Men don't want to be. Men are not looking to be. Most men are not looking to be pursued. They're not looking for a woman to do what they're supposed to be doing. This is why a lot of men even have problems with women earning more than them. They don't. They feel like they're being misplaced when the woman starts doing what they're supposed to be doing. Right? They feel like we should be hunting. And then you're hunting me. So now what you're doing is you're making me now the prey. And remember, in this world that we're living in, if you want to call it patriarchy, we are entitled. So we are in a position of being in power all the time. The moment you put a woman to hunt me, she's now in power, which means I'm now no longer in power. I'm no longer in that place. I now feel disempowered. And that's a turnoff. I may want to go for the sex, but I'm not really going to want to do a relationship. Like I said, there are going to be some men who are going to be there, who are going to be cool with that. But they're not, I'll be honest with you. they're not they're not even in the eye lines.
I hear you, and I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I do know that that is not all she is. Like you guys are, and that's why I want to speak up for her, because I know she's so much more than what they are showing on the show. She's not a super aggressive like that. She is absolutely a flirt, and she probably was hamming it up a little bit more just because of the process. But I've seen the way she moves. She's not super aggressive in that way. Men approach her all the time. She's a beautiful woman. But yeah, if she wants something, have I seen her go after and get it? Yeah, absolutely. I actually admire it because she knows what she wants and she goes after it. I don't think it's necessarily something that is a negative. Maybe the action behind it, could be a little bit of a softer approach, but it works for her, and that's what she's comfortable with doing. So I don't think it, it just takes a certain type of man to be okay with it. She's been in relationships before, so it's not like she's been single this entire time. So it has worked for her in some ways, but just in this particular situation, the man couldn't handle her.
The men could not handle her, and rightly so. They don't want to handle that, and that's the majority of men. But I hear you on that. I'm gonna leave Courtney alone. We'll get on the show.
I'm sticking with that.
When we get on the show, hopefully when we get on the show, we'll have a conversation with her about it. But when you get personally with her behind the scenes, we're looking for you to tell Courtney. If I didn't get behind the scenes, tell Courtney that turn it off. Turn some of that off. Give us the opportunity. I said this about Simone and Rashid last season. I said no problem with Simone asking for the date. But she allowed Rashid to set the date, the time, and what they were gonna do. So you can initiate. You just can't take over the whole process.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? Allow the man to do what he does best. Because if now, and I always say this, if we are saying that, yes, there are gonna be some men that are more feminine, right? But we always use this example on the channel. Someone breaks into your house. Are you looking at Courtney to now come and defend the house?
I feel like she would do a good job of defending the house, though.
Yeah, she might do, but will she be looking for that? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, because the honest truth is, a lot of times when the masculine energy is being presented, when women say, I'm a boss and I'm this, what we're actually hearing is, what I'm hearing anyway, let me make it specific. What I'm actually hearing is, there's something that's happened to you that's made you very protective of yourself. And I've said something to a lot of the people on this channel where I say, the most protective people are the ones who are most unprotected. And it comes out as masculine energy, and it comes out as, I can do all good by myself. And it's like, that's cool. You can do all good by yourself. But now what's happened is you're presenting yourself in a certain way and then saying it's me. Actually, really all it is just, it just needs a little bit of chipping away, and we'll get the you underneath that. Do you know what I'm saying? So you can be a boss at work.
I can see that. Absolutely. Because she is very much of a protector. She's a hard worker, and she wants to be a great mother to her son, and that I know that's a priority to her. And so that might be part of that masculine energy where she's like, I got to do what I got to do anyway. you know, I got to take care of him. I got to do this and I got to do that. She's pretty much doing it all on her own. So I think that might be also, you might be right about that. It's a protective thing. Like this is a shield on also feeling like she can't get hurt. She's like, I will take the lead on this and I'm going to lead this. So, I mean, I could see that.
Who else on this today's show was you looking at thinking, oh?
I mean, I love Aisha and her vulnerability. You
Yeah.
know,
Beautiful.
Aisha, what you see on camera is also who she is as a person, and that's one of the things that I love about her. She's also one of my favorites. She has been through so much, you know, and I think this process has been a healing for her as well. And it's opened up a lot of things that she's having to face over again by telling who she is and her story. And she's very relatable. And Phil coming in and consoling her, and that shows who he is as well. You know, it screw the cameras. Like, I'm about to make sure you're good, and she's just, you know, just an open book. And I respect her for that, and continue to respect her for that, because that is her through and through. Aisha will be Aisha, period. And I think that's why so many of the men connect with her, because she is unapologetically herself, you know, and she knows what she wants, and she knows what she's been through, and she has a story to tell. And that is one of the things I absolutely love about her.
Yeah, I love Aisha's authenticity. I'll be honest, I prejudged her. I'm not gonna lie to you, I
Did you?
prejudged her.
And
Oh
I'm sure she gets that often. Y'all see this blonde platinum hair and the tattoos and her Bronx accent, and the people judge her right off the bat, but she is super intelligent. Such a soft, warm, loving person. And, you know, she absolutely deserves love. If any of the women on that show, if I can say one woman on that show absolutely deserves love, she absolutely deserves it. Yes.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. You know, and I respected the connection that she had with Phil, because you know, she identified somebody who was a safe space and trusted in that. That's both Phil and her, you know, kind of combining at that level to have that earnest, open conversation. And you can only have that kind of conversation, like I said, when you become a safe space for somebody, and you show that you are able to handle some of those things. And I think they mentioned that they had spoken anyway some deep stuff beforehand, so this is not just thrown into the deep. This has been a process that they've been talking about you know, over some time. So that's how they got to that space. So it was beautiful to see, honestly, and I loved the fact that he got up and, you know, hugged her at that point. It wouldn't have been me. I wouldn't have done that, because my counselor would have my counselor would have come out and then been like, okay, so tell me, I'd have started counseling at that moment. It wouldn't have been a hug. So I love the fact that he hugged, didn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes that's all we need, you know, just to be held. And I think he made a perfect move in that moment. You know, she was, you know, breaking down and telling her story, and saying, you know, I think it's, again, admirable that she was honest in that moment on why she is scared to have children. And so many women are like that. It's very relatable. So yeah, I appreciate her being that way and who she is. Absolutely. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, who was the other person that came into my mind? I just lost it. I said this, and the audience will probably jump on me with this. I said, what's going on here? Because Dante, listen, I appreciate him. Listen, no beef, but we got to stop bringing men and women with 3 baby mothers, 2 baby mothers. We got to stop that. Okay, there are quality. Listen, and I'll say this honestly, men and women. I've said this. Your market value changes when you have children. It's that simple. But now you got not just children, not with just one woman, not with 2. He has 3. Right, and we saw this with Raymond last season. We love a season before. We've seen this. Carrington had 2 baby mothers. We've seen this now with also Alicia had the same situation. like your market value changes when you have this kind of complexity also involved. Okay, kids are a
Right.
blessing, but they
Mhm.
mash up the thing when it comes to the market value, right?
Yeah.
And he's got 3 baby mothers. Are we saying we couldn't bring some other men in DMV? Listen, I've got no beef with Dante, but I have to keep it 100 a buck to bring in someone else who hasn't got 3 baby mothers. This is like, for me, this is bottom barrel now. Like, I feel like we're doing bottom barrel for people if we're doing it. And I'm not saying he necessarily is a bad person. I just want to, we're talking about market, please. The
Mhm.
market value that he's bringing, it doesn't matter how great he is. You have
Mhm.
3 baby mothers, which means time, energy, and finances are going into 3 separate households,
Yeah.
and will be a 4th household that you need to bring into, because it'll be your own household. And this is the person we're bringing onto the show as saying this is what Ready to Love is. I'm vexed.
I don't know what to say. All I could say is what I know about Dante, and I understand what you're saying, because it does give a cause for pause when you hear someone who got 3 kids and 3 baby mamas, and he knows that. That's why he said it's not for everybody. You know, I do got 3 kids, 3 baby mamas, so he owns up to the fact that, you know, he might not be the first choice versus a man who got 1 baby mama or no kids, and him having 3 with 3 baby mamas. But what I do know about Dante is he take good damn care of them kids. He is not financially hurting.
Mhm.
And he has a good relationship
With
with the mothers.
Yeah.
So what people would think would be like hard, or what you would be concerned about, I think that they brought him onto the show because he's not your typical 3 baby mama, 3 kids that comes with a lot of the drama. So I do know that about him. He definitely, if you are going to step out of the box and date someone who is of that status, it would be him, because you don't necessarily have to worry about the things that come with that. He can definitely take care of his own. His kids are older. They not like they newborn babies and he having to, you know, do all this stuff. The kids are independent. He can still do his own thing. And, you know, ain't no baby mama drama. So I think he good.
Could you deal with it?
No. That's why I said Dante is not, I mean, I'm not romantically involved.
That's my point. Like, listen.
I said if you gonna go ahead and deal with someone of that status, and you gonna step outside the box, Dante would be the good match to step outside the box for in that moment for him. For him, because I know his background, I don't blame a sister if she does say, you know what, yes, this is part of him, but he got this, and that, so I'm good with it. Me, I got 0. So 0 to your 3 and 3 baby mamas. I feel like it's not really a fair match for me personally. And I also feel like if usually when someone has that many kids, they probably have a limit on kids they want, or if they even want any, period. I do want to have the chance to have children. So I think he would be a good match with someone, you know, who got kids too, or done, or whatever.
Who's willing to have 3 baby mothers as a continual conversation? That's what we're actually truly dealing with.
Nothing I said.
No, because he's got 3 baby mothers. Okay, unless these kids are 18 plus, they are independent on their own, don't need his financial necessarily aid or whatever. He has got dependabilities that are not in his house. At any moment, he could be called to one of those 3 houses. At any moment. You have to really think about his time and attention is split, and that in itself, for me, that's what I'm saying. His market value is down right now, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I said I don't know why they put him on the show. We don't need to see a representation. We have
people with kids need love too.
They do, but not on the show. But not on the show. Not on the show. No, I'm saying, listen, no, because it's not. If he had 3 with 1 woman, I wouldn't be. I would say the market value it still can be a little bit reduced, but it's not a compression. You got 3 with 3 different women. That's completely different to I was in a relationship, I had my girlfriend or my wife, and then we had children, and those are the 3 that we have, right? That's different. But you got 3, which means 1, 2. He doesn't need to be on the show. Let's find the offline dating appliances that do those things that match people up, and you go on there and they match you up with somebody, but not on the show. And I'm more shooting the show than him, because they
Well,
put him on.
it's happened before, so I mean, we know they
That's the
gonna
problem.
have somebody. At least it wasn't 5. They had a man with 5 kids.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, at least
See how
the
you're saying
numbers
5.
decreasing. The numbers decreasing. We went from 5 to 3.
I mean, we had 2 men who had more than +2 baby mothers. So so I don't think the show has done the ladies any favor, because let's keep it a buck. If you're a lady and you're about your stuff and you're not, let me say this, it's gonna sound harsh, and you're not desperate, you ain't going there. Let's get it straight. Because there is options you have. You only go in there when the options are out.
I don't.
You don't have to do. I got it for you. Just say nothing. I got it for you. Don't say anything. I got it for you.
I'm gonna do the Chrissy Teigen smile.
That's it. I got it for you. I'm gonna say it. It's that simple. And we said the same thing for the Mandem too. So, that's my concern. Okay, that's my concern with the Dante situation. He's not a bad guy. He's looking after his kids. He's not dusty or anything like that. But he's got a lot of energy going in different places. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. A lot of energy in different places. He didn't need to be on the show.
Their concern.
Yeah. The show needs. We'll speak to the show about this later on, about them trying to bring that on. What was your thoughts on Frank and Moomin? Because I felt a little Jason and Liz come back up again. It suddenly resurged itself in my spirit. We've got hypersexual and I don't want to have sex before marriage. Where are we going?
I mean, that's the thing of the process. Like, that's why you kind of have to be open-minded with this process, because you might be open to things that you didn't necessarily think that you would be open to. So Frank might be saying, hey, I'm a sexual person, but I feel like if it's the right connection and you're really feeling this woman, like even I said, like, I like sex, but if I meet the right guy, and if that's the only thing that I'm having to sacrifice in the moment, that I know I'm gonna get it later on when we get married, I might go through the process. So I think Moomin is a beautiful woman and she has an amazing spirit. Like, she's got a banging body. So she might be worth him waiting. He trying to see what he can do. But he did. I'm glad he put out there, like, I am a sexual person. So I'm just letting you know this is going to be a struggle. But we can see he's not necessarily cutting her off because of that. So I think that she should probably protect herself more than him, just because that's something that she considers a treasure and that she's trying to protect. So if someone tells you right off the bat, like, hey, I'm a sexual person, that might be a bit of a red flag for her, not necessarily for him, just so she won't have to keep having to explain herself and saying no, you know what I mean? Like, I can't do it, like, so.
I mean, I get that, but that maybe because I've lived a dark life. If I say to you after you've told me, or after I know that you're not trying to have sex, and I tell you I'm hypersexual, I'm not gonna lie to you, Kez. Do you know what I'm actually really doing? I'm planting the seed.
Yeah.
I'm planting the seed. It's not me just being honest. I'm planting the seed. I'm getting you ready
to let her know that he's going to try planting the seed to let her know he's not going to take her seriously.
Oh no, I'm planting the seed to let you know that when it does happen, it's not my fault. I told you what I was about. You can't blame me when you fall. Right? You can't look at me as a bad guy, because I told you I'm hypersexual. And what I call this, it's actually a dark art. People don't realize this. It's called a double bluff. You tell the truth, but the truth is actually also meant to blind you. Because what you're seeing is, oh, he's so open and so genuine and so trust. No, when he heard that she's not having sex, you should have been like, brother, I'm not trying to be involved with that. I'm trying to have sex, so I'm gonna be honest with you, this is not for me. Bye-bye. Right? But he ain't said that. And here's why he didn't say that, because also Moomin didn't go, actually, this is not for me. Right? So she's left that door open.
It wasn't for her.
Yeah.
He has a little bit of hope that it might go down.
And listen, no matter how strong you are, okay, Kheri, I work out. Let me tell you something, I work out, all right? But I'm not trying to, we have the saying, if I stand on a chair, it's harder for me to bring you up than it is for you to bring me down. So if I'm spending my energy trying to bring you up,
Mm-hmm.
More than likely, what's going to happen is I'm going to fall.
Mm.
And then what's going to happen is when I do fall, I have nothing to stand on because you already done told me I'm hypersexual. It's like when a man tells you, well, you already know I done told you I'm not trying to fall in love out here. Then you fall in love and he's like, oh, I told you I ain't trying to fall in love out here. Exact same principle. So, you know, both parties have got a part to play in this.
Yeah.
But she should walk away because she knows what her value is in not having sex before marriage. And
Mm-hmm.
he telling her he's hypersexual, knowing that she's not trying to have sex, knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm sure he's gonna try and I'm sure he is gonna probably try and do it. And he gonna try and end up falling and be like, it's not my fault because I told you that's not what I was trying to do.
Oh Lord, I feel like she's pretty stern on her, her religious views as far as waiting till she gets married. So you never know. She might eventually be like, "Nah, this ain't for me." You never know what happens. We'll see. But I do understand your perspective, which is very interesting. That you're like, if he's saying he's giving her the warning, and because she didn't say, I ain't doing that, period, we don't even need to go there, he's gonna stick around because he's thinking that he can, like, there's some wiggle room in that. Interesting.
I know us men are dangerous out here, you know.
Yeah.
We'll even use the truth as a way to weaponize it, man. Do you know what I mean?
Child. It's a lot. It's a lot. This is only what, episode 4? Is this episode 4?
It's episode, I thought it was episode 6, but it's like episode 4 because the first 2 don't really count. Yeah.
Right. Correct.
Yeah. So we're like episode 4 in a sense.
Let's switch it up for a second. What are your thoughts on your honest thoughts on this season so far? In comparison to the other season.
I don't know. It's weird this season. I wouldn't say it's a bad season. I'd say it's just got a different dynamic. It's not captivating as the previous season. I would say it's not immediately captivating as last season. You know what I mean? Like immediately, like, whoa. I think it's a slow burner. But I I think it's difficult for me to kind of say because once you start reviewing the show becomes automatically different. You start trying to look for things and see things. So it maybe a little bit different. I think what I've noticed more is even more heavier edits. Right? Things are not making sense. Whereas beforehand, there were 1 or 2 things that were making sense. Now it seems like in this season, we've gone from
flowing.
It's not flowing at all. We've gone from Ready to Love to a mixture of Bravo's RHOA with the messiness and the drama that comes in between and stuff like that. And then not I know they want to tell a story, but the story's not adding up. And I think it's very simple. Just show somebody talking to somebody, even if they have to redo the conversation that they spoke behind the scenes. Just show us that. I don't care if you have to make them.
You want to see more of the actual connection.
Yeah, it's just something that's not making sense. Suddenly, somebody was like,
you guys did not see me in Tyrone's connection. The only thing you saw was him say hello, and then all of a sudden, my feelings are hurt.
Yeah, that's what we saw. Yeah. I didn't even ask you. How did you feel about the fact that he said to Sabrina? I know Sabrina's in the chat. How do you feel about Sabrina? The fact he told her that Shallow's his wife. He can see her being his wife.
I mean, my initial thoughts were, and I was aggressive. And you talking about this chick you talked to twice is your wife? Interesting. I didn't feel no type of way. Again, that's his connection. That's how he felt. I do think that he dived in head first with Shiloh. It must have been some amazing conversations and moments they were having to immediately to put that title on someone. And Tyrone's an older dude, and Shiloh I think is 33, and Tyrone is like in his 40s. He's a father. He's like way more mature than she, or more experienced than she is. So to put that title on her, I was a little bit taken back because Sabrina was obviously interested in him, and I feel like she was a little bit more on his level of maturity. Not saying that Shiloh's immature, but I think that what comes with Tyrone would be a lot for Shiloh. Especially with her, you could tell from the elimination how sensitive she is. And even when she was when they were going through deliberation and women were like, I want to vote Tyrone off, how she started crying. So she's obviously a very sensitive person. She's an empath as well. So someone like Tyrone and all that comes with him, Sabrina exudes strength. And I feel like they probably would have made a better match, to be honest with you. I think he chose incorrectly based on the women that he was
you think
with.
Charlotte? Yeah. Do you think Charlotte actually wanted Tyrone? I'm not gonna lie, Charlotte, think she did.
I think she felt something for him, but I think she wanted to go through the process. I think she didn't want the pressure. And again, she obviously has something that that he really, really liked, but she wasn't where he was at. And I think that he also had connections with other women, and he kind of just threw that away for something that he wasn't even sure of. And that was his mistake. I think that he moved quicker than he just kind of selfishly based it only on his feelings and didn't check in with her first. So that's where he kind of jacked up on. He should have talked to her because Sabrina was feeling him, obviously. So
if a man tells you he sees you as his wife that early,
what are you trying to say?
Need I ask the question? If a man drops it that early, listen.
I don't think y'all understand this process. Like, these are the only people that you're talking to every day for like months or weeks. Like, you can kind of drink the Kool-Aid. You get all up in your feelings pretty fast.
From mixer to the swimming pool, is it months?
It's like a few weeks.
It's a.
I tried to say.
That's what I'm trying to say.
A lot of conversations.
Yeah, I know it's a lot of conversations, but the brother came out and said, I see this. Like, he just came out and said, I see this girl as my wife, and didn't check in with the person who he sees as his wife. That in itself is a red flag.
It is. He got excited.
That's what I mean. You talking. All right, and us doing a few lives, maybe the next few weeks before Christmas. Christmas comes around, I'm like, Kheri, I'm seeing Kheri as my wife, just coming out and just saying, like, what? I haven't even checked in with Kheri to make sure Kheri's okay. Maybe if Kheri even feeling me, Kheri's even liking me, whatever. And you come out and say that. That's what's scary. And I said, okay, I don't think Tyrone's ever gonna be anything like that. But that's what's scary, because when we do these panels and stuff, we talk about these kind of stuff where, when someone kind of goes so quickly, it throws a person into a whirlwind. It's like, that someone can. When I was reading the Art of Seduction, and one of the things that throws people off in the Art of Seduction is that the person gets too excited too quick, which means probably you're going to also fizzle out really quickly. And it's like, it's almost like someone trying to dance faster than you. So if I take your hand and I'm trying to dance faster than you are, you're going to be like, what's going on? You're pulling me along this dance, and I'm not really at the same time tempo. I'm not ready for this kind of dance tempo you're going at. So it's like, so when he did that, it's like, that's a flag on the play. That's like, get the referees on the pitch, get the stretchers on the pitch, because right now, brother, we're in A&E, because that move wasn't a legal move.
Yeah, yes, I agree with you. It definitely was a very risky move, for sure, to throw that out there. Because even outside of the process, during the process, I don't think the word wife has ever been used that early in the history of Ready to Love. So, he got that, I'm trying.
Hey, you trying. I know you trying, and you know it's complicated for you because you also know the cast members. That's why I have to say it.
Yes,
You know what I
see,
mean?
I
I'm gonna
did
say it. I'm gonna say
my
it.
families, my
I
cast,
understand.
stick
I'm
by
gonna say it for you. Don't worry. I understand the predicament you're in, so I'm gonna say it for you. Okay, I'm gonna say it for you. So don't you worry. I'm gonna say it for you. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
So it's all
mhm.
good. It's all good.
Okay.
Wait, hold on a minute. Did you get to talk to Lamont?
I did not get to talk to Lamont. Me and Lamont talked very briefly at the mixer, and it just did not.
Didn't click.
It
You
didn't
didn't
do
get.
it for me. Yeah,
You didn't
even
get
just
poetry.
I didn't get poetry. I'm kind of jealous I didn't get no poetry. I mean, I might have would have liked the poetry. I didn't get that. But
Mm,
it was very surface. I think Lamont was he was in his head a lot,
yeah.
um in what the beginning process, that mixer was very difficult, especially if you're not really super sociable like that. Like I'm a sociable person, so it really didn't intimidate me too much. But I think if you are not like a naturally sociable person, it's gonna be a lot and it's gonna be hard to juggle. So I think that Lamont felt like he had to talk to everybody and
Mm,
wasn't having like in-depth conversation or anything that was like, you know, making someone feel like they have a connection with you. The Lamont I
mm,
know now is he's freaking awesome, but
yeah.
we didn't get to see that side of him, and he was eliminated pretty quickly. So
Yeah, it's a shame, really. I did say it was a bit of a shame that he went, but yeah, someone had to go. Someone had to go. Yeah,
I might have to go.
someone had to go. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, I get it. But this season's been interesting. I mean, for you watching it, your perspective,
Mhm.
how do you compare it against other seasons then?
I think it's very different.
Mm,
In comparison to other seasons, I will say they're not showing enough of the connections. And I think that that might be a little bit frustrating for the castmates. They're like, I actually made that we had more in-depth conversation than this, and I feel like it's not showing the deep side of it of what we saw in the previous season. Like, remember when Joy, when she was having her connections, and we
mm,
saw her crying with some of the men, and them just like really getting to know each other, and so it made sense on why she was liking certain people, or
yeah,
we were just we were really able to get to know people's real personalities, not the comedic shit,
yeah.
not the stuff that's good for TV, but who they really are. So
Mm,
you haven't really heard too many of the castmates say that they didn't even show who I am. But we're not through with the season, so it might be a slow mover, and then you start to fall in love with the people and seeing them together. So I'm hoping that's how it's going to be, because I will tell you that people on this season, they definitely have amazing personalities, beautiful spirits. They have a lot to offer. And
mm,
I don't feel like enough of that is being shown. Even Camille and her silly faces, like she's getting her PhD. She's super smart, intelligent. She's very involved with the youth. She's more than a silly face and a great body. And I hope that eventually they'll show more of that. Like she's more than just being about Cornelius being her boyfriend. So I do hope that more of that about her is being shown. But I feel like I'm a woman's woman, so I'm rooting for my girls, and I want them to look the best they can on this platform. And the men are also amazing as well. So I just want them to be able to show that side of themselves eventually. I hope we kind of get past the surface of things right now, because we are really scratching on the surface. We need to dig a little bit deeper.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. Listen, whatever happened with Own and them getting with Discovery, listen, I got no beef with them, but it has taken the direction of these shows in a left. We've gone from some mature TV to almost becoming like I said, RHOA. It's like yeah, we're going down that route. And
Mhm.
actually, what is the point? It's a dating show. Like to be honest, I don't just blame them. It feels like every dating show is going down that same
Oh
kind of
yeah,
path,
yeah.
where it's becoming sensational. It's not really about real connections anymore. We can and you can still entertain people because
Yeah.
dating in itself is trouble.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to add any more chemical X to the madness. You
Right.
having people wanting to date will always have problems in it. Do you know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Like, you know, the drama doesn't necessarily have to be uh so induced like a drug. I feel like right now it's a drug of induced drama. Right?
Right.
It feels like the chicken that has been injected, you know, to make it look bigger than it actually is. It's like we don't need to do that, right?
Right.
And people want to see black love,
Mm.
but right now this is black bag of rubbish. I don't want to say that word, but that's what we're seeing right now because it's not, and it's not good storytelling. That's even the worst part. Y'all not even giving us no storytelling.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, give us a story, build us
Yeah.
up, show these connections, even if it's going wrong. And let's say they're doing a drama, fine, but show us some of these connections. Every season, I get someone coming out. Y'all didn't see nothing about the edits. This is what
Yeah.
happened. This is what happened. It's like, okay, okay, but it's like show us a story, and that's what
Right.
I'm saying about. I don't mind them having to. Let's say, for instance, if you're having a conversation with Tyrone, it happened behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
You prompt the people to have a conversation one to one, and you prompt, what did you guys talk about last night?
Right.
Da-da-da. So that conversation comes up again, and then we
Right.
film it and we can see it. Oh, that's the
Right.
connection they had. None
Right.
of that seems to be happening.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's the frustrating thing.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying, and that's why I'm hoping that as the season goes on, they'll start to show more of the connection, you know, and because there really were and will be some that you will see, but I just hope that the audience will be able to see how it flows and how it happens, not go from hello to we together. You know what I mean? Like we need to see the steps. So I'm hoping that every episode will start to see those steps. Maybe what they're trying to do is let everybody kind of get to know the castmates a little bit and then start showing us the connection. So then when they do start to connect, we'll be a little bit more invested because now we know Aisha's story, we know Phil's story, we know Walter's story, we know Mumin. So I think they're just showing everyone's like storyline, and then, you know, and maybe the connections. They maybe just did a little bit of a different approach this time. Crossing fingers. I don't know how it's going, because honestly, we haven't even seen the episodes. When y'all see them, we see them. That's why, like, we have our reactions. And I'm like, that's not how that went. What the hell, you know? So even when I saw, you know, my storyline and, you know, my elimination, you know, a lot of it did happen, but there was a lot of edits. You know, I wasn't being goofy and thirsty with Dante, but that's how it looked, you know? So, but that's just, you know, it's not like what happened didn't happen. It's just the way that it flows. So hopefully you guys will start to see these connections being made and it'll start to make sense. But don't give up on us. Don't give up on this season yet. I feel like it's going to get better.
No, I'm not giving up. They pay me. No, they don't. They don't pay me. They don't pay me. No, I'm hearing what you're saying. Like I said, you know, I think it's more about improvements rather than shutting the whole thing down. We don't want to throw the whole thing away. We want to make improvements. So hopefully, we know maybe we should be trying to reach out to them to make some improvements for next season, so we can see better stories. Yeah, you know, I get that. Okay. Was anything else that happened on the show that you want to talk about? I'm trying to think. My brain is trying to think of. That wasn't anything that happened that I missed.
Not anything that I want to discuss. I discussed what I wanted to discuss.
Okay. Well, Kheri, it's been amazing. It's been a good conversation. Love the little, you know, chinwag as well after as well about the people on the show. It was good actually. That was vibes.
Yes.
We will have you on the show again. You know, we'll talk behind the scenes and get you on the show again. Because like I said, I think you got an interesting story.
Yeah.
And I think it's powerful. You know, some of the stuff that you've gone through and the way that you're able to highlight what you've learned. So would love to have you on here again. So we appreciate you.
I would love to be on here again and tell more of the other part of my story. So I look forward to that. Absolutely.
What was your podcast? Sorry, what is your podcast? I forgot to
my podcast is called Good Love. It's with me and my sister. So we do it every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And it's a relationship podcast. So me and her have both been married before. We're both divorced. My sister is 47. I'm 38. We're both with no children. And we've been through healing and we've learned many lessons. So we basically use this platform to try to reach other women and men who are still in their waiting period. We also have men come onto the show where we just kind of, it's really for inspiration for people so you don't feel down while you're going through your waiting period. You know, if there's healing that you need to do, this is how we heal. You know, and just we talk about our spirituality, we talk about God, we talk about love, we talk about heartache, we talk about everything. Nothing's off the table, but it's mostly around relationships and just the lessons that we've learned. And me and my sister is we're polar opposites. So I'm a little bit of a risk taker of all of those things, and she's a little bit more of less of a risk taker. So it works well with both of us. But yes, it's called Good Love. It's on Facebook Live right now. We do have a YouTube channel, which I'm gonna have to pick your brain on how to like do the StreamYard because I am not tech savvy. I suck at it. Yes. You said what?
I got you.
Okay, thank you. So yes, we do have a YouTube channel. And eventually we'll start doing that on Tuesdays as well. So yeah.
I love that. Yeah, we'll definitely get you on here, and love to even if get your sister as well. Love to have that kind of conversation that would help people as well.
Yes.
We're a mature audience here, so I say mature. I didn't want plus 25. Well, plus 25 is everyone's going through this and stuff like that. So this will be something that would benefit, I think, a lot of people as well. So
absolutely.
yeah. Oh, someone asked one last thing. Do you have a boo at the moment? They asked. Do you have a boo?
Do I have a boo at the moment? I do not have a boo. I am single and dating, and that is where I'm at. So I'm open. No, I'm single and dating. I told you one thing about this show. What it taught me was how to date. Because before I used to do the Tyrone. I never said the husband, but I did put all my eggs in one basket too quickly. And like now, I don't do that anymore. I've actually learned, to date multiple people. May the best man win, and that's just where I'm at. So I'm single and dating.
I like that. Any other ventures that you want us to follow and support as well? Any other ventures that you want us to support?
Yes. So I do have a decorating company. It's called Lux Decor by Kheri. Yes, that's my business, my baby. She's still growing, so don't judge too hard right now. But I am passionate about, I'm a creative. So I like to paint, I like to decorate, I like to create things. So I did start this business a couple of years ago. I do events, Airbnbs. I do staging of homes. You could do certain spaces that you want to update, renovations, whatever. But yes, I do have my interior decorating business. I do have an IG for that, which is on my bio on my page. Which is Kheri_Creole_Cutie. And also I have a website, which is luxdecorbykheri.com. And that's it. So yeah. And I also have my Twitter account, which is the same name as my IG account. I'm not very active on Twitter. I need to get more active.
So. I'm not active on Twitter anymore. I used to be, but anymore I'm not really.
I know. Yeah. People like pictures and videos and stuff now.
Yeah, I'm more Instagram and yeah, that's my kind of thing. So okay, well, I'll get you to send me the details. So I can put it in the description as well, so that people can find it, so they have an easier place to go and check it out. Do you know what I mean? So,
I appreciate that.
But yeah, Kheri, you've been amazing. It's been fun. It's been fun. I'm not gonna lie, I've enjoyed myself.
Absolutely, I enjoyed you as well, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. I look forward to our part 2.
Come on now, trust me, I'll hit you up whenever we have to do it. Like I said, you got some great stuff to talk about, so and it will help our audience. So we'll definitely do that. Audience members, thank you so much for joining us today. I didn't even expect it. I thought we were just gonna have to sit down, but the sit down turned also into a little chin wag, a little talk about the show. So really great conversation. I mean, all that was missing was food. All that was missing was a bit of food. You know what I mean? That was all that was missing. A good Chinese would have gone down well.
We should have been eating something,
That's what I'm trying to say.
Maybe
we'll organize that for our next thing. We'll do like a food thing.
We're gonna have a mukbang and a.
That's it. That's it. I'm ready. Listen, we'll do that. Then we do a conversation about relation. I think we'll do that. So
Yes.
we'll arrange that. So the
Okay.
audience can know.
Sounds
But yeah, audience members, thank you so much. Let me just say this, Sabrina, we want to ask the question. You can answer this later on. Why were you speaking Korean when you said you couldn't speak Korean to Tyrone? Everybody wants to ask that question. We need to know. The streets need to know, Sabrina. So I'm gonna ask you.
Leave my boo alone.
We love Sabrina, but she's gonna have to ask that question. How come you don't? All of a sudden you know Korean with Sean, but you don't know with Tyrone? Okay.
She knows something. She didn't know what he was saying. Maybe he
Yeah.
didn't say it right.
Yeah, she didn't, and that's why she started talking Korean to Sean and not to Tyrone. But that's a talk for another day. Sabrina, you got questions, babe. All right, cool. So, honestly, audience has been fun, man. You lot turned out in your shows. I mean, I think you came out 600 strong, so crazy. Like, honestly, I appreciate that. They came out for you, Kheri, and it didn't come for me. So, audience members, appreciate you guys. Erica, you know who you are, Erica. Appreciate you. Listen, you better message me after because you're moving mad. All right, listen, audience, stay locked, stay loaded. We will see you again very, very soon. It's been a good one. Wait out for the mukbang. You hear me?
Yes.
You know what?